This week I'm in Yellowstone National Park and I'm so excited to share a few of my favorite spots with you. Come join me. As we head into National Parks Week, I'm thrilled to be sharing a perfect first-timer's guide to exploring America's original national park. Yellowstone National Park has many highlights to enjoy, and we're going to begin our adventure visiting Yellowstone's Upper Geyser Basin, and the most famous geyser and the first geyser to be named inside this park. Join me at Old Faithful. Unlike many geysers in the park, which erupt unpredictably and infrequently, Old Faithful erupts on average 20 times a day, and its blasts can shoot up to 180 feet high. The boardwalk to Old Faithful is an easy, gentle walk. Just be aware it can be a little slick after a fresh snow. Of course, it should be a no-brainer to stay on the maintained trails here for safety. But just how hot do these vents get? Well, the water temperature at the vent of Old Faithful has been measured at over 200 degrees Fahrenheit and the steam at over 350 degrees. Also, scientists estimate that anywhere from 3,500 gallons to 8,500 gallons of water are expelled during each eruption, depending on the duration. Multiple boardwalks and paved trails trace over 4 miles of the Upper Geyser Basin, which contains several hot springs, and this area is home to the world's highest concentration of geysers. Over 250 can be found right here. It's impossible not to be impressed by the incredible hydrothermal features found in the Upper Geyser Basin area. Let's explore some of the highlights here together. The Riverside Geyser sits on the bank of the Firehole River and it erupts every 6 or so hours. There is a water runoff at the edge of the cone for about an hour before each eruption, and the eruptions can shoot up to 75 feet high for nearly 20 minutes. Looks like I missed out this morning, but it's still beautiful to see the river here. You never know when you might catch an unexpected show here. Beehive Geyser looks like it's just about to go off in the distance. Grotto Geyser is fascinating, even when it's not erupting, thanks to its multi-part cone. When the Grotto Geyser does blow, it's a lot of fun. The Daisy Geyser actually shoots at an angle, and on a windy day, the spray can produce a curtain of water at up to a 70-degree angle. It can shoot 75 feet high for 3 to 5 minutes here. Many consider Morning Glory Pool to be one of the most beautiful hot springs in the entire park, named for its remarkable likeness to its namesake flower. Giant Geyser is named for its 12-foot tall cone, and while its eruptions are infrequent and somewhat unpredictable, fact, the last eruption happened in 2019. It can blast 250 feet into the sky at times. Chromatic pool is small, but it still packs a powerful color punch with the beautiful blue in the center. For more Upper Geyser Basin highlights, I'll link my virtual visit YouTube video and full blog post in the description of this video below. And after exploring this popular area, we're heading to a spot that's equally as impressive, but not often as busy. Let's venture out to Firehole Lake Drive next. Firehole Lake Drive is a 3-mile one-way road just off Yellowstone's Grand Loop Road, and this scenic drive offers some truly unique features that don't draw the same attention as Grand Prismatic, which is just a mile down the road. So if you'd like to escape some of the crowds, this area is definitely for you. The first feature you'll come across on the left-hand side of the road is Lemon Spring, which is named after the yellow and orange layer of bacteria glistening on the rim of the spring. Now, the colors aren't always present though, due to temperature changes it undergoes throughout the year. A little further down the road is another turnoff for Broken Egg Spring and Firehole Spring. Now, both springs are aptly named. However, Firehole tends to steal most of the attention. This is probably one of the most beautiful, colorful features in the park. Early explorers of Firehole Spring thought the large bubbles looked like flashes of light, hence the origin of this spring's name. Up next is Surprise Pool. Enjoy taking a stroll on the boardwalk here that arcs around the boiling pool. Now, no one has ever seen it erupt, so we're still all waiting for the surprise here. Just a stone's throw away from Surprise Pool, you'll find Great Fountain Geyser. As one of Yellowstone's major geysers, this is certainly the most popular stop along the loop. Erupting every 10 to 14 hours, the geyser erupts over 100 feet on average, although sometimes it can reach over 200 feet. Now, it can be challenging to plan a visit during the eruption, but when it blows, it can last an hour or longer. Our next stop is Pebble Geyser and White Dome Geyser. As you can see, White Dome has built itself up into a massive cone shape that's almost completely sealed off. It only sprays around 30 feet up, but eruptions are frequent, happening about every 20 to 30 minutes. Pebble Geyser, on the other hand, hasn't erupted since 2003. Our last stop today along Firehole Drive is a cluster of geysers scattered around 3 geothermal lakes: Hot Lake, Black Warrior Lake, and Firehole Lake. There are wonderful boardwalks that allow you to get up close to several geothermal features here, including the Hot Cascades, with a small waterfall that connects Hot Lake and Black Warrior Lake. Several vents supply water that averages 158 degrees Fahrenheit here. And on a cold day, you can feel the steam against your face as you walk along the beautiful boardwalk trail. For more information on the Firehole Lake area, I'll link my full virtual visit YouTube video and my complete blog post in the description of this video below. Now let's head out to explore another can't miss spot, Fountain Paint Pot Trail. This half-mile boardwalk loop is located along Grand Loop Road, and this area is unique in that it showcases all 4 types of hydrothermal features found inside the park: geysers, hot springs, mud pots, and fumaroles. The first features you'll encounter are the Celestine Pool and the Silex Spring. The calm waters here can actually be considered geysers due to the occasional eruptions, although Silex Spring is currently dormant and it hasn't erupted since 2006. Next up along our journey is the trail's namesake, the Fountain Paint Pots. This formation puts on quite a show as it bubbles and pops in light blue and pastel pink dances across the terrain. As we continue around this loop, we encounter several notable features, including the red spouter, leather pool, twig geysers, jet geyser, and spasm geyser, all of which are unique and worthy of a stop. It is incredibly important to stay on the designated boardwalks here, both for your personal safety and to protect the integrity of these incredible features. And please remember the leave no trace principles on your visit here. There are a few hydrothermal features here that tend to steal the show. Clepsydra Geyser is certainly one of these, and it's also the most active of the bunch. In fact, if it weren't for the occasional short pauses, this would be considered a perpetual spouter. For more information on the Fountain Paint Pots area, I'll go ahead and link my full virtual visit YouTube video and my complete blog post in the description below of this video. And as we continue on our Yellowstone adventure today, let's take some time to enjoy the incredible wildlife which calls this park home. Lamar River feeds a wide grassy valley, drawing grazers to the area, and Yellowstone is home to around 3,000 bison. Lamar Valley is a great place to spot them, and bison will at times walk down the center of the road, creating bison jams. Now, it's important to remember that not only are bison the largest land mammals in North America, weighing in at up to 2,000 pounds, they can also run up to 30 miles an hour, so always give them plenty of space. Now, first things first, when it comes to viewing wildlife here, safety should always be the top priority, both for you and for the animals that call this land home. Consider learning about and taking the Yellowstone Pledge to protect this park we love and its local wildlife. Yellowstone is an incredible place to see the large wild animals. And of course, it's important to never feed them. It's also important to never approach them. The safest way to view wildlife here is through a good telephoto lens, a scope, or a good pair of binoculars. Give the animals plenty of space here. Lamar Valley is located in the remote northeast area of the park, and it definitely has to be at the top of my list when it comes to spots for viewing wildlife. In fact, this area has earned the nickname of America's Serengeti for its population of easy-to-see large animals. If you look very carefully, you might even be able to see bald eagles in the tops of the trees by Lamar River. Just look for the golf balls at the top. Even off the side of the road, you never know what animals you might see here. On my most recent trip, I saw a large group of pronghorn grazing in the valley below, along with bighorn sheep that were found in the hills above. You have to keep your eyes peeled for these guys. They really blend in here. Yellowstone is home to over 6 elk herds with over 10,000 elks. Bulls can weigh over 700 pounds, and have antlers over 5 feet across, so it's always important to maintain a safe distance when viewing these animals. Another incredible place to see the elk here inside Yellowstone National Park has to be the Mammoth Hot Springs area. Now, not only can you see them along the upper and lower terraces, but during the rut, they come incredibly close to the hotels and even the restaurants here, so you always want to give them a wide berth when you're exploring.
The terraces here, like Mound Spring, are actually living sculptures shaped by the volume of water, slopes in the ground, and the objects in the water's path.
This popular destination is located just inside the north entrance of the park along Grand Loop Road. There are two main boardwalks, the upper terrace and the lower terrace, which together cover over 1.5 miles of this beautiful terrain with approximately 300 feet in elevation gain. There are many wonderful and fascinating features along the upper terrace, but a couple of my favorite happen to be Angel's Terrace and the Orange Spring Mound, which, as you can see, was named for the beautiful vibrant orange colors created by bacteria and algae here. White Elephant Back Terrace looks like, you guessed it, an elephant's back. Depending on its activity and temperature, Angel Terrace can be either pure white or filled with an array of bright colors from the microorganisms it produces when highly active.
Entering in or exploring around the Angel's Terrace area is strictly prohibited, not only to protect the natural features here, but also to protect you from the dangerously unstable ground and boiling water which can flow here. There is, however, a small pull-off with great viewpoints of this incredible area.
For more information on the Mammoth Hot Springs area, I'll link my full virtual visit YouTube video and my full blog post in the description below. Now, let's head to one of my favorite Yellowstone areas, the West Thumb Geyser Basin. This area, which includes the Potts Hot Spring Basin to the north, is the largest geyser basin along the Yellowstone Lake shoreline. The 1-mile loop trail here is located along the westernmost edge of Lake Yellowstone, which is aptly named after the thumb shape of the section of this lake.
Yellowstone Lake is the largest lake above 8,000 feet elevation in North America.
And the West Thumb Basin is a beautiful place to view the lake and the incredible geothermal features found here.
These mud pots are a unique thermal feature in that their water is more acidic and it can actually dissolve the surrounding rock into clay. Also, mud pots can vary with precipitation and groundwater levels. Sometimes they just look like muddy water.
The figure-8 shaped boardwalk takes you alongside dozens of pools, geysers, and pate pots, as well as boiling mud pots. Now, many of which are nameless. However, some named highlights include the Seismograph Pool, Bluebell Pool, Blue Funnel Spring, Abyss Pool, and the perforated pool here, which is named for the large quantity of vents visible under the surface. The topography of this area is constantly evolving. Temperature changes have affected pool colors, earthquakes have shifted rock formations, and new geysers continue to pop up, like the Footprint Geyser, which erupted 15 feet high in 2002 for the first time. Now, 2 decades later, we're still waiting for its encore appearance. Another recent change occurred in 1991 when the Black Pool, seen here, had an extreme rise in temperature due to an energy surge, and this caused the dark green and black colors here to transform into the blue we see today as the thermolytic bacteria was killed by boiling eruptions.
It should go without saying, but please always stay on the designated boardwalks and trails here for your personal safety and to protect the natural features. Back in 1893, a park employee attempted to impress his friends by stepping near the Thumb Geyser, and he plunged through the surface into boiling water. Now, while he did survive the ordeal, he was badly burned, and unfortunately, other park visitors have suffered the same or worse fates by not staying on the path. So please, don't go off this boardwalk.
Stories tell of cooking on the hook here, where anglers would catch a trout, then swing their pole over fishing cone to cook the fish without taking it off the line. Obviously, fishing is no longer allowed from fishing cone, but it's a fascinating story.
Along with fishing cone, there are multiple spots lakeside you'll want to stop to check out here.
Highlights I enjoy include Big Cone and also Lakeshore Geyser. Once you've walked the West Thumb Trail, take the short detour over to the Potts Hot Spring Basin.
Just a mile and a half north of West Thumb Geyser Basin Trail is a small pullout along the Grand Loop Road. Here you'll find the overlook spot for Potts Hot Spring Basin, which offers views of over 40 geysers and pools backdropped by the crystal blue waters of Yellowstone Lake. Up until 1970, there was a boardwalk that allowed visitors to view these features up close, and the main road even skirted the basin along the shoreline. But for our safety and for the preservation of the area, the road was rerouted to what we see today, and the boardwalk was removed, so there's just this small viewing area.
I'll make sure to link my West Thumb Geyser Basin blog post and virtual visit YouTube video below. I do think it's important to mention while we're exploring Yellowstone today that the weather can be extremely different day to day, particularly in the spring and fall months. You can have sun one day and a snowstorm the next.
It's a bit snowy, but Lewis Falls is still beautiful. Here at Isa Lake, you'll find the Continental Divide in Yellowstone, 8,200 feet above sea level.
Continuing on our adventure, our next stop is the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone and both Upper and Lower Yellowstone Falls.
Artist Point is easily reached from the paved path that's under a quarter of a mile round trip with less than 50 feet in elevation change. Yellowstone Falls is made of an upper and lower falls. Now the upper falls drops 109 feet while the lower falls crashes down 308 feet. The trail to the brink of Upper Yellowstone Falls is a popular, easy, and short walk, like just over a quarter mile out and back. And with incredible views, it's easy to see why this spot is so loved. The Grand Canyon of Yellowstone is over 20 miles long and between 800 and 1,200 feet deep, and anywhere from a quarter of a mile to 3/4 of a mile wide. Uncle Tom's Lookout Point is a great spot to see the Upper Falls, and it doesn't require a lot of hiking. The brink of the Lower Falls Trail is just over a mile out and back, but it does have a few switchbacks, so be prepared when you take this hike. Red Rock Point Trail is a popular out and back trail leading to the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone and the lower falls. Now the stairs descend over 250 feet, and this is a park favorite for both sunrise and sunset. Now both trails to the brink of the lower falls and Red Rock Point take a little extra effort with the switchbacks and rough terrain, but for views like these, it's certainly worth it.
I'm linking my full Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone and Upper and Lower Yellowstone Falls blog post and YouTube video in the description below so you can get more information. And we're heading to our final stop on this Yellowstone adventure, and it is truly a star of the show. Join me as we explore Grand Prismatic Spring.
Yellowstone's Grand Prismatic Spring is the largest hot spring in the United States, and it's the third largest hot spring in the world, coming in at 370 feet in diameter. This incredible hot spring is over 120 feet deep, and it's believed to expel over 560 gallons of water every minute, though it can be hard to see when it's cold and the steam is rising up. Grand Prismatic Spring is located in the relatively small Midway Geyser Basin, but this hot spring packs a major color punch. The Lollipop Boardwalk here is less than 1 mile, and it leads to 3 other impressive geothermal features in this basin. The Excelsior Geyser regularly erupted nearly 300 feet high in the 1800s, but it has been completely dormant since 1985. However, the steaming pool here still pumps over 4,000 gallons of boiling water every minute into Firehole River. The Opal Pool is the smallest feature found at Midway Geyser Basin, but it received its name thanks to the opal-like color in the water here, which sits consistently at 132 degrees. The Turquoise Pool was named by members of the Haden expedition of 1878 for its striking blue waters. Make sure to take time to stop and read the interpretive plaques along the way for more information about these fascinating features. Once you've enjoyed Grand Prismatic from the boardwalk, make sure to take the short trail up to the overlook. It's just over 1 mile with a little elevation gain, but the views are certainly worth it.
I'm linking my full Grand Prismatic blog post and virtual visit YouTube video in the description below so you can get more details on these incredible viewpoint views as well as the beautiful boardwalk surrounding this Yellowstone gem.
Thanks so much for joining me this week in Yellowstone National Park. For more information, see my full blog post at flyingdawnmarie.com. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. Until next week, I hope you find adventure and encouragement wherever you go.